for the slightly late start. Let's see. Gwen said hello. I said almost ready. Raymond YYC says, hey Gwen and Torm. And Kathleen, hey Kathleen, been a while. Nice to see you here. Hey boys and girls, how's it going? And Raymond YYC says, hey Kathleen. And I said 3 minutes, which is actually about how long ago it was. And Kathleen says, it's been a while, life has been eventful. Just waiting with bated breath, Torn honey. And, okay, there we go. Aren't snowflakes supposed to go down? And Gwen says, hey Raymond YYC, and hello Kathleen. And turn up the sound. Okay. Let's see. Settings, audio. Looks like it's picking stuff up properly. Let's see. I'm going to reduce background noise, see if that helps. Okay, how's that going for sound-wise? Oh, okay. All right, well, I'm going to go back to automatic then. Let's see. I don't want to blast out anybody's ears. StreamYard messes up stuff enough as it is. All right. Okay. Sorry for the delay. Apparently, as near as I can tell, Discover, or at least my Discover card, is no longer processing payments to X. And I've got no alert from Discover, just X telling me that my transaction's been declined. So I don't know if, I don't think it's X turning down, or Twitter turning down the, or not allowing Discover card, because when I put in the, tried updating the information, it did have the acknowledged as Discover card. It's being processed through Stripe, unless I have done some social media, social credit score wrong, and they don't want my money anymore, or don't want to process my payments anymore. But other stuff has been going through, so I don't think it's that. I don't know if my suspicion is that Discover has decided they're not going to be processing, or they're not going to handle payments to X anymore. Just thought I'd pass that along because they took payment last month. And yes, I do have the blue check mark, but that's mainly so that I can hopefully eventually do monetization down the road. But I think I'm like at least 400 followers short of what I need to start getting monetized. I'm sure I'll make like a whole 50 cents a month for a while if I do get monetized. All right. But that just came through, and I was trying to figure out what was going on with that. So I'll have to do a different payment method for that. I figured I'd cut these up at the beginning here. And I am looking forward to tomorrow, because I get to see if I can get another prescription for my attention deficit. I can hopefully start doing more things that I want to do. Not have this, impending sense of I need to do something, but I'm not starting, and time is running out. I won't actually do it until I have way too little time to properly do it or do it comfortably, which is the way my life is mostly run. And for a while there, it was starting to be easier to do some other stuff, and then it went away. That's probably enough for now. All right, I am going to take off my shoes so I don't tromp around so much and make a lot of noise downstairs. And close the windows. It's warm enough. I can take off my jacket, which is actually a really nice jacket. Let's see. It's all machine embroidery. but I like it. It was a Christmas present from Mrs. Thorne. All right. Tama. Looks like I'm running low up here, so I'll probably have to run downstairs in a little bit and grab more of them. But that won't take very long. All right. So the goal for tonight is to get at least 2/3 of the setup done. I'm about 1/3 right now. Let's go ahead and mist it down a little bit. Wrap around the finger, make sure I'm not losing any threads. So I forget, Kathleen, did I update you on my health situations? If not, if I did, that's fine. I tend to forget who I've told what. The important thing now is I seem to be doing okay. Still got to get a follow-up lung CT scan this Friday. The following Friday, I see the lung doctor again. Get to see if I've had any actual permanent lung damage out of all this. I got one of those home oxygen saturation meters, and it seems to be showing that I'm in the healthy range. It tends to run like 93 to 96% saturation, sometimes a little higher, sometimes not. All right, let's put a flag on the halfway point here. There we go. And oops, got a little bit of tension unevenness. That, for some reason, is wobbling a little bit. I think I mentioned yesterday that I watched a nice 4-part video series from SCP Story. There is no anti-memetics division. Did a pretty good job with it. I liked it. But as a result, I've been listening to a lot of different SCP entries on YouTube while I was working today. It was a nice change. Then I tuned into Megan Fox and Legal Vices doing the truck driving game, which I have to say, if you're only listening to it and you got earbuds in, it got kind of painful at a few spots there. It was amusing to listen to, but kind of painful. So, and I went ahead and dropped out just shortly after they started the second full trip. And it was after MG Law had popped on. There we go. That's nice and snug. Alrighty. Yeah. Oops. Seem to have a tensioning issue on this one. I guess I didn't get it right. So let me back this out a little bit and see if I want to try another knot. All right, let's get that nice and even. There we go. And actually, I'm going to real quick try a little bit of super glue, see if that works. Since I happen to have it handy. And I know I've mentioned it before, but these little whisker applicators are great for, let's see if this will work, for doing very small, precise applications of super glue. And they also keep your bottle fresh. All right, there we go. That's saturated a little bit, but I don't think I've got it glued together. I just got the fiber saturated. Let's try this again. There we go. I think that got it. Tapping it a little bit like this helps catalyze the reaction, I think, because the additional surface area helps speed up whatever process is involved with that. I could be wrong. Could be entirely psychosomatic. Though I do know that, yep, that looks much better. There are some ways to catalyze it that are not necessarily you expect. There's a product I've used called Zip Kicker that generates a lot of heat, so you don't want to ever do it for anything like if you repaired a fingernail or something like that. But apparently, the baking soda, I think it's baking soda, will catalyze it without giving off a lot of heat. You can actually use it to make a kind of a filler, to make it more like a Bondo type fill than anything like that. Oops, sorry about the not having the tapping on screen. I apologize. I thought it was in view, but I think I was too high. Okay. All right. Let's see. This one should go there. A little bit. There we go. And we'll drop down behind, come up under, and that's under 1, over 2, 3, over 4, over 5, over 6, over 7, over 8, and under 9. That a little bit more. Actually, this doesn't need it that much more. Let's slip around a bit. And let's take off the oldest one, which is this one. Nope. Huh. All right. It is this one. There we go. Catch up with chat real quick here. All right. Kathleen says better. And Kathleen says well fudge. And Kathleen says my Beat and Jewelry Society meets Sunday. Some Kumihimo fans there. I'll let them know of your existence. Okay. Thank you very much. That's very kind of you. I appreciate that, Kathleen. Gwen says that's a cool jacket. And Kathleen says a lovely fabric. Kathleen says, nope, tell me. And good. I like mine. Okay. Yeah, let's move the super glue out of the way because I don't want to knock it over on something. And that's 6-stage Tama. Doesn't work so well if they're not where they're supposed to be. Actually, let me go ahead and move this. There, should be able to see everything now. Sorry about that. Camera's a little better position. All right, so we're doing black now. The fibers felt fairly dry, so let's give them another blast. All right, there we go. Got Not one. Not two. Not three. Just a little more careful, make sure that we don't have any wraparounds where it's interfering with tension. Let's put on the flag at the halfway point. And for those that have been watching my Lego-like streams, one of the things that's been kind of preying at the back of my mind, so to speak, is the non-Lego branded set using Lego blocks of a build for the Battlestar Galactica model from the original series. Why is this not wanting to clamp down correctly? All right, there we go. And nice clean snip. Go. Unfortunately, it's a 23,700 some Lego block is that not wanting to go through build, which is a ridiculous amount of Lego expense-wise. So I've been looking, and looks like the price, depending on where you buy the blocks from, is anywhere between $2,000 to $2,500. I cannot justify that, but I really want to build that. So I'm trying to figure out if there's maybe some way I could do it for a build that would I could swing like some sort of way to pay for it. And I was thinking maybe having like a Lego fund type thing, where if people wanted to contribute to that instead of like super chat or something like that, that they could send a payment there for that, and then once I get, I'm not going to like ask for all of it, but like half of it or something like that, go ahead and order, pay for the rest of it and get the build and build it on the stream. But my upbringing with the mother I had, it feels wrong for me to do that, which I realize, isn't really. It just depends on if it's something people want to support and whatnot. But I don't know if I can overcome that mental conditioning from the child. Still kind of funny. We used to do a lot of family trips together when I was younger, and every time before we were ready to head out, my mom would say, "Have you used the bathroom yet?" And now, at like 56, if I'm leaving for more than just drive to and from work or something like that, I have to hit the restroom before I can leave the house. All right, so under 1, over 2, under 3, over 4, under 5, over 6, under 7, over 8, and under 9. Let's get this here. All right, let's get the flag in line with the rest of them. Yeah, tear off the oldest one, which is this one here. And I see that you're wearing Jessica's T-shirt. Yep, I really like My Body's a Temple T-shirt. I've actually pointed a lot of people to Mike's website so people can get it who want it. Couldn't see the tapping. And you're just too tall. I got the camera at a weird angle. Sorry about that. And I've had my little O2 meter since 2020. Battery's only died this year. Yeah, it doesn't tend to use a lot of power to do that. Glenn says, I love my O2 meter. When my heart skips a beat, it's weirded out. And Kathleen says, got hit by CHF a few weeks ago. Things have been exciting. Sorry to hear that. Gwen says, I have an irregular heartbeat. Sometimes I get dizzy. The O2 meter lets me know that I'm still getting the oxygen I need. I can see how that would be helpful to settle the nerves, if nothing else. Right. And my thing is, when I was on my way to the hospital, they kept checking my O2 levels and telling me I was really low and giving me more and more oxygen. I just felt fine. I was, as far as breathing, it wasn't bothering me at all. Right, so just did black, so it's time for orange again. I need to actually let two of them on the same end. There we go. All right, so we're doing orange next, and grab some Tama. Alrighty. Let's mist it up a little more. I guess today's been kind of a dry day. Look around, make sure I don't lose any threads. Snag some on my fingers. One. And two. And three. There we go. Pop this back here. Halfway point. Let's go ahead and pause and put on the flag. Flag is in place. Oops. Whacking the green screen with my foot. So we got one that's hanging a little more loose than the others. Let's go ahead and walk that back. All right. Hopefully that's enough that our tension is now even. Yeah. Yep. Oops. There we go. So Ian is streaming tonight. If I get tired, I'll go ahead and just set a redirect up for him right about the time he starts. If not, I may go till 9 or 9:30. I think he's planning to start at 8:30. When I get a minute, I'll go ahead and set up the redirect since he's already got his stream set up. That way I don't forget it. If not, let's go ahead and pull this snug, make sure I got my tensioning good. Yep, no tensioning issues with this one. Let's go ahead and wrap it up. Is that not in place? Also, I ran across a nice tip the other day to a YouTube short. Apparently, if you are cutting plywood on a bandsaw, there's a way to do it where you don't get tear out on the top, scoring where you're going to cut, and being very precise with your cut location. Or you can take blue painter's tape and you can just put it on and you'll get much less, but still a little bit of tear out. Or you can over one, or under one, over two, under three, over four, under five, over six, under seven, over eight, over nine, and over 10. All right. Pull that flag even. But if you take painter's tape and like a roller or something like that, where you can put a lot of pressure on the tape, make sure it's nice and firm, you can get almost as good as a cut. It's the scoring method. So I'll have to remember that, because doing this stuff and the console work, I definitely have a lot of blue painter's tape. All right. And there we go. I have a little bit left off from the last tear off. All right. And next one, black. And in two more after this, I'm going to have to run down and grab some more Tama. They're already prepped, so it'll just be a matter like that, grabbing. Yeah. Let's go ahead. I'm thinking very seriously about doing another setup stream tomorrow night to finish the setup if I don't get it done tonight, which I'm pretty sure I'm not going to have enough time to get it done tonight before I get too tired. I've definitely been getting sleepy about 5 or 6 my local time, and I don't know if it's just I've built up a tolerance to the new wake-up medicine, or it's from having had the other taken away. But I figure there's at least a moderately good chance that whatever they prescribe might have a tendency to keep me a little more awake. So I better wait till after that before talking to the sleep doctor if I need to change my dosage or anything related to that. But anyway, the upshot is that I'm more tired than I expected tonight, but I had some extra caffeine before coming up, so I should be okay. Plus, I'm up and moving around, which is a whole lot more conducive to keeping me awake than when I'm doing like Legos. And it's like, okay, I'm starting to free associate. Free disassociate, whatever you want to call it. Or I start just random things start popping in my head, and I just start saying them, and I have like no connection to anything else I was saying prior to that. And even I can't remember how I got to that point. I hope it wasn't too weird for those watching those streams. But that's about the point where I'm ready to like doze off in mid conversation. Speaking of dozing off, when I was a teenager, I had a paper route, and I would get up at like about 4 in the morning and bike about 2 miles to where my paper route was, and get the papers at the drop-off point, and do that. But sometimes I was, let's see, yeah. This guy had a thread or two pop loose. Let's go ahead and pull this for even tensioning again. All right, I think that's good. Now let's try this again. Anyway, at one point, I was tired enough that I was on my bicycle. I was pedaling very, very slowly, and then I fell asleep and woke up when I very lightly bumped into the bumper of a car and woke up before I fell off the bike. It's a little disconcerting, but no harm, no foul. I was going slow enough. I'm surprised I actually did bump the bumper as opposed to like stopping and falling off on the side, which probably would have me waking up on the ground rather than before I could fall over. So kind of glad that I didn't do the fall over option, because I'm sure that would have been less fun. But yeah, I was pretty tired at times. though that paper route was also the source of one of my first money frustrations. I got the route and was starting to save up money. My folks had gotten me a savings account. I was like 12 at the time or something along those lines, 12 or 13. And once I got up to like about $120, my folks took the money out and bought me a Timex Sinclair 1000 doorstop computer. And while that was probably a relatively good thing for me, computer learning wise, I didn't have any say in that. And I'd been working for the money, and it got spent for me. And so for a while, I had the attitude of, oh, why bother saving? Because it's just going to get spent for me. I can't use it for what I want. And I know my folks were trying to be good for my education and stuff like that, but it was probably one of the more counterproductive things that they did. And it's one of those ones where I don't really feel like it's any worth, bringing it up or anything like that, because they were trying to do good things and it just kind of backfired. That may have had more to do with my personality than what they were doing, but I still don't really think it was a good idea for promoting a savings attitude of save up for what you want, save up and somebody else gets what they want for you. Because I really didn't like that computer all that much, even though it was probably useful for teaching me stuff about computers. Sorry, I didn't mean to rant on that. Yeah. I was also having a lot of trouble in school and stuff like that, getting along with other kids, so got a little bit of dry skin at the edge of my fingernail that keeps snagging on the silk. All right, let's take off the oldest flag. Yeah. Yep. Actually, let me catch up with chat here. Ooh, I'm way behind. Apologize for that. Let's see, Kathleen says, yeah, I got a lot of use out of it when I had breast cancer. I've had an irregularity in my own that has driven doctors nuts for years. With the, they did a heart CT scan on me when I was in the hospital. Apparently, I have a very small murmur that I'm not worried about at all. Glenn says, I first learned about my irregularity when I was 16 or so. Hasn't given me hardly any trouble. And Kathleen says, I have a compressor in my room and bottles to carry when I leave the house. The compressor's noise drove me nuts at first, but I'm good now. And Kathleen says, Glenn, I think things like that bother the doctors more than really bother us. And Probrion, hey, Torin. Welcome. I'm not sure if I've seen you on before, but if I haven't, welcome to the stream. If I have, I apologize for my poor memory. And Gwen says, Probrion, hello. And Probrion, I have a question. Are you always using actual silk, or are you also using other types of threads? Actually, up until about a year or two ago, I was pretty much using cotton DMC embroidery floss, the ones you can get at like Walmart or Joann's that are like, they were like 39 or 59 cents a skein. And those are really good things to start off with that are relatively inexpensive. So hope that answers that question. Program says, hello, Gwen. And Gwen says to Kathleen, it gets irritating when I can feel the skips and it's continuous for hours at a time. I can see how that would definitely be rough. And Raymond YY says, yep, Runkle is at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. Speaking of which, let me go ahead and set up that redirect while I'm thinking about it. All right. Content. Ooh, I got 2 new subscribers in the last hour or two. So the new subscribers, thank you very much. Let's see. Live, edit, customization, add a redirect. There we go. And where is Ian's? There we go. All right, so I've set up for Ian's. Yeah, let's save that. There we go. All right, I have that's taken care of. All right, let me catch up with chat. Keep catching up with chat. Program, are the blue bits to mark the middle? Yes, I'm using a little bit of painter's tape, and what I do is I walk it out to the full length that I'm going to do. I tie it off one end to a tama, and I've got a piece of tape on the floor marking the halfway spot between where I've got the tama held, the tie off, and the warping frame that's in the other camera view, and that identifies the mill point. I walk back the other end, cut it off, and run it to the D-ring and tie it to the other tama. And that way I can make sure that I'm at the middle and keep them relatively consistent. Gwen says, "We'll have y'all's attention. Please hit the like button." Thank you very much for that, Gwen. And Chris Collins, hello, welcome, welcome. Hey, yes, all the, yes, the blue marks in the middle. And Gwen says, Chris Collins, hello. And Gwen says, that would have been upsetting. And program, do you actually have some kind of community chat like Discord or STH or SIP? I occasionally use Discord, but I don't have. I do have a locals community, and you can comment and chat on that. I post links there, so it's torin3.locals.com, and I will try and keep and read up there. I haven't actually. Something. Okay. I will try and set up like a live chat there. I know a lot of other locals people do that, but I don't have that many subscribers on locals. It's only like about 20 people. And Kathleen says, no, I can understand it. Had plenty of instances in my life that would have actually have come to nothing had people just respected enough to ask me first. Yep. And Program says, been here before. I'm the European guy. Okay, well, welcome back. It's good to have you back here. I have a lousy memory for names, and I apologize for that. I would like to have much better memory for names. I've actually worked with people for 20 years, and I have to spend like 10 minutes trying to remember their names. I mean, I actually have forgotten most of the names of the previous job I worked at already. It's only been like 3 years. STH is something, and Program says, no worries, man. All right, let me get the next one. All right, so I did just do a black one. Yep, I can tell by looking up there. And it's time to go on to orange one again. By the way, I noticed that these are looking blue, and I think that's the camera trying to adjust the white balance. These are actually kind of like an ivory color. Let's see, there we go. Got a little bit too much light. Yeah, it's hard to adjust the light properly. Maybe I can mess with the camera setting and not make it so sensitive on the white balance. Yeah. Program says, I'm also bad with names. Hey, fellow bad name person. Or person who's bad with names. Good to have you here. And Mary Cormier, hey y'all, welcome, welcome. And Gwen says, hey, Mary Cormier. And Program, speaking of being European, I should go to sleep. Good night. Well, it was good to have you on. Feel free to catch the rest of this on the replay. And if you have any questions or anything like that, you can always leave a comment. I'll leave the streams up, and I will do my best to answer them. And Gwen says, Program, have a good night. Yeah, it's probably the earliest it could be is probably 11:22, and it's probably closer to midnight. 12:30 after midnight. So you have a restful night. It was good to have you dropping in. All right, so orange is next. Alrighty. That one there. Go. Let's see if they've gotten enough moisture absorbed. I don't have to spray it every time. All right. Wrap around the finger. eventually, when I get this room here a little more clean, or it doesn't look like tornadoes down through it, I will have a better camera view for this process. Just missed one going through there. Let's try that again. Get all of them through the leader loop. There we go. And one. Two knots. And 3 knots. There we go. Walk this back. Here I don't have any tension unevenness. Go ahead and put the flag in the middle. There we go. Continue walking it back. And it's still kind of feeling a little dry. I'll make sure to mist it up more often. And clamp that there with the magnet, and nice clean cut with the really nice scissors that Mrs. Torn is kind enough to let me borrow, because I'm only going to use it on silk. And I'm actually using metal shears to cut the painter's tape into flags. All right, that looks good on tensioning. Let's go ahead and tie this off. Yep. So yeah, if I do in the stream about the time Ian's going to start his, it'll be about 2 hours for setup. That should hopefully be enough that I can get to the 2/3 mark. I might wind up doing that just so I can get a good night's sleep before going into work tomorrow. And the doctor's visit. We'll see how it goes. And then I can finish up Tuesday night and get started on the braiding. I did post a pic from the end of last stream on Kurt's Discord, and that's the thumbnail for this stream. I get the impression that probably shouldn't leave too many photos there. Not sure if Kurt's going to be happy with that. And let's see, the lark's head knot here. And the lark's head knot, for those that haven't seen it, let's see, it goes like this. Got it over the top, grab a finger here, and then kind of loop around, make a loop, flip it up over the top, and we got a knot that I can unroll as needed. Let's get this in its proper spot and make sure, unroll just a little bit more, make sure the flag's in the right spot, and we drop around behind and then up underneath. And let's get the flag a little closer where it's supposed to be. So that's under 1, over 2, under 3, over 4, under 5, over 6, under 7, over 8, under 9, over 10, and under 11. And the way I'm doing this, I will always be going under the odd number ones and over the even ones. So I should probably move these flags just a little bit further down, because as the 90-degree angle thing here pops up, I use up more. So like I said, now on this side is not wanting to unroll. All right, let's see, got a little loop stuck around the knot for the leader. Let's free that up. There we go. Now I can unroll it. square this up a little bit more. All right. Ooh. Let's see. Program, who has probably already left, says 1:30 a.m. So okay, you're. I would have to look, but you're probably at least as far east as Italy, if not further. And Kathleen back, Dan LASIX. And I'm assuming that's the IV fluid LASIK type thing as opposed to the eye surgery, because I've had the eye surgery. And Glenn says, welcome back, Kathleen. And Kathleen says, rest well and be blessed program. All right. And let's see. So this is the last two Tama before I have to run down and grab more. And yes, I know I'm saying all right a lot. One of the little verbal tics I've got while doing this type of thing. As verbal tics go, I don't think it's all that bad. Right, knock around the finger there. And let's get a little more misting. There we go. Back to the Tama. So I pulled out about 8 feet's worth. 8 feet worth. I'm not sure the proper version of that. You seem to be probably a little more tired than I was expecting. But I'm making good progress, so we'll keep going. That's not one. All two, up two, and I think I mentioned on a previous stream, but I need to wind up ordering some more kite string, probably a slightly heavier version of what I got, just so that it has a little more friction, so that they don't unroll on their own when I get near the end. At least not as much. I suppose I could like glue them or tape them somehow to the Tama so they don't slide around as much, but I don't want to damage the Tama, even though I have the molds and I can and will make more. Speaking of which, I need to do that relatively soon. So I've got stuff to sell on the merch store website once I actually get that set up, which is another one of the reasons why I want to get some treatment for my ADD so I can actually do that. Oops, looks like I had that one slide a little bit. That should be, there we go, out there. Pass that through, make sure, yep, I did get all the threads. I'll see hanging loose, and tension looks good when I pull it. I do have to say, it feels really nice getting started on another braid. It's been way too long. But admittedly, I did start one up in July when I was on vacation. But that's still August and September entirely without doing any braiding. At the end of August, first part of September, I was kind of out of it. And for a couple weeks prior to going to the hospital, I was like sick. Just felt miserable, coughing all the time. But I seem to be doing pretty good now. I still have a bit of a cough, which I've had since, like, I essentially got back from vacation. But I'll be seeing the lung doctor about it. It's mostly when I'm lying down that it's an issue. But if I'm using the CPAP, it's not as much of an issue. All right. So let's go ahead and, all right, so lark's head knot again. Have it over the top, hanging like this, and drop it down. Have a finger or two here, wrap around like this, and grab the loop, and have it over the top. Oops. So let's do that again. So here, grab the other finger, loop it up over the tama, and we have our hanging lock set knot, which we can unroll by rolling it against the way it wants to unroll normally. We're good to go. I've done so many of the larks that it's not, I have to like stop and think what I'm doing, but I can just let my hands do it automatically without thinking about it, which is useful at times, but not when I'm trying to teach people. All right. And under and coming up under, behind and coming up underneath. So under one, over. Oops, I had this on wrong. There we go. Over two, under three, over four, under five, over six, under seven, over eight, nine, over 10, and under 11. So that means I have 44 set up, so I'm getting pretty close to the halfway point. Let's go ahead and get past the flags there. And I shall also have that go a little bit further down. Let's take off the oldest flag. It's almost getting into the weave there. That's why I started moving down. I will catch up with chat, and then I will run downstairs to grab more tama. Get that little bit of painter's tape off my finger. All right, so that's looking pretty good there. All right. Let's see. Kathleen says, rest well. Okay, so I've read that one already. Kathleen says, yeah, lots of Lasix in the IV at the hospital, and now I just take a pill daily. And when I got home from the hospital, I lost like about 10 pounds of IV fluids over the course of the week. Kathleen says, stuff will ruin your day if you don't plan your timing carefully. And Gwen says, it's all right, Torrin. You don't have Tourette syndrome, did you? No, I don't believe so. My roommate actually has an ex that had Tourette's. So she's kind of aware of that and has never suggested that I have anything like that. I'm just saying it's a conversational repetition thing, like where people say all the time. It's just brain trying to fill in, making sure you don't have dead air, so to speak. And Kathleen says, Torn, I use a thick cotton crocheting thread for my leaders. It does great and maintains a good grip on the silk. I don't want to have it too thick. I did have like a thicker twine a while back, and I found that it wound up using a lot of the tama space for the threads I wanted to use. So I want something that's relatively thin, so it doesn't take up a lot of the storage space on the tama, but it's still good enough grip that it doesn't unroll on its own. And Kathleen says, I'm glad you're doing better. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. And I'm very glad that I'm doing better as well. So, all right, let me go ahead and put on some hold music real quick, and I'll go and run down and grab the tama. All right, let's see. I usually do night driving. I am back. Turn off the hold music. Alright. And Gwen says, yep, Speechmaker's downfall is a bad one. I'm at least trying to avoid that. Gwen says, Kathleen, are you... I actually hit the sneeze button in time. Gwen says, Kathleen, I use cotton thread for leader when spinning fiber into yarn thread. It's got a good grip. All right, I'll have to figure some sort of cotton international fiber kite string, just because it's got a nice strength. And I also took some time to make up some soda stream with some meal. I'm not that Star Wars girl, but I do like meal. I also like orange sodas. And that's what it's like. Alrighty. So I have more tama. Whoops, this one still has some thread on it. Guess I got a couple that I haven't completely cleaned off. In there. Thought I had. Oh, and I did remember to pick up the priority mail box for mailing off the braid to Ian. So I'll get that off in the next day or two. All right. And we're doing orange next. Alrighty. I at least try and make my brain pause gap filling sound to be somewhat interesting, or not make me sound like I'm in the middle of brain lock. Since my wife introduced me to it, I tend to use, if that makes sense, as a pause, which isn't always appropriate, but is more often than you would actually expect just from some conversations. So I'm thinking about getting that game that Megan and was playing today with Legal Vices Jeff. Might be fun to get on a convoy stream. See how it goes. I like gaming. I just don't tend to spend a lot of time at the fun games. I tend to spend my time on these simple, repetitive games because that's how my brain likes to waste time and not do productive things. I've also been considering getting Space Marine 2. Been hearing good things about it. There's been a lot of Warhammer content YouTube channels that have been taking advantage of the interest that it's generated for Warhammer to introduce people to different aspects of Warhammer. There's one of the top tier self shorts channels where it's like introducing somebody to Warhammer, and some of those are quite amusing. I actually somewhere have a copy of the original hardback Rogue Trader Warhammer 40k rules back from when I was just slightly post-teens era, before I really got a chance to play it. And I remember my first Warhammer 40k miniatures were the Christmas Marines, mainly because they were cheap. And let's see. I did get to play some stuff. I did get to play like 1 or 2 Titan games. I've been wanting to, if I do wind up playing Warhammer 40k Titan Legion stuff, been wanting to maybe like build my own Titans with 3D printing. Obviously not the official Warhammer version, but something similar. I've got an STL for an Eldar type Titan. Obviously not an Eldar Titan because we don't want to do any copyright violations here. But I'd like to be able to have more social interaction, play games with people, for stuff that I enjoy. I played D&D a fair amount as a teenager, but when I started moving out of my own group to play with some other people, I unfortunately did not wind up getting in groups that were balanced or whatever. They all seemed to be homebrew rules, Monty Hall, all the established characters were essentially demigods at that point, and it just wasn't fun playing. There was like no challenge, no adventure. And I admit that I hadn't really developed my understanding of what makes stuff good enough to realize that that was a problem. There was like no conflict and whatnot. That, you know, the conflict and the interactions is what makes it interesting. But I did realize that what I had was lacking. So I kind of got out of playing. I would buy rule systems and read through them and like, this would be fun. Alrighty. There we go. There. Let's pull off the oldest one. Actually, at this point, I can probably pull off the oldest two. I only really need like 3 once it's got this many on here. All right, so let's take off this one. We're also getting to the point where if I'm not careful, they might wind up being wrapped up in the basket weave. All right. So I have 4 flags after I do this. Take that one off. All right, and go. Catch up the chat real quick. And, let's see. Gwen says, does the SodaStream thing have drink mixes like Gatorade or extra protein type drinks? I know next to nothing about SodaStream. SodaStream, their main thing is that they have the carbonation. They do sell like most Pepsi big flavor syrup mixes. They're not the same as their regular stuff. They have kind of like a mix of a little bit of sugar and sugar-free, even on the non-diet versions. Basically because you have like a set amount of syrup you're supposed to add. So there is regular and there's diet and zero versions of most of their, you know, Pepsi and Mountain Dew. And I really don't know if this is the case or not, but I did have a suspicion that my muscle weakness was caused by whatever artificial sugars they were having in the Mountain Dew diet. So I haven't been getting that particular syrup anymore. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to move faster over into drinking the seltzers. So I got a bunch of extracts to make up my own flavor combinations for non-sweetened at all, no sugar, no artificial sugar seltzers. But yeah, you can do that. They also have the Bubbly brand seltzer makes syrups that they use for their stuff. For SodaStream, they have like a lime, pink grapefruit, a grape, and like one other flavor that you can get on Amazon. But yeah, basically, you're not supposed to mix your stuff before you carbonate, but once you carbonate your liquid, you can pretty much add anything you want to it that you like. And the main reason they don't want you to add something to it is they don't want it to, like, you know, get something sugary or build up in the nozzle for the carbonator stream. And Kathleen says, yeah, the simple ones appeal to the most. And Millie says, Megan's stream earlier was hilarious. Yeah, I mentioned it that I was listening to like about an hour and a half of it. And the sudden screams were kind of painful in the ears, but it was quite humorous. Kathleen says, my son loves in Seattle loves Warhammer 40K. He's been sending me novels every Christmas. Have you listened to the Eisenhorn trilogy? I just finished that up. It's a pretty good feel for the flavor of the Inquisition and the universe in general. They were talking about having Henry Cavill possibly help produce that, but it looks like they canceled that. It would have been, if he was supposed to have creative control. If he'd been able to do that, I think that would have been wonderful. The Eisenhorn is not so much the big battles; it's more the individual things. But it does give you a flavor for that reality, for that storyline. But there's like I think there's over 640K books out, and one of the things where that was talking about the guy talking to himself as like different personalities, introducing himself to Warhammer 40K, and it got to near the end, and it's like, so how much does it cost to get the miniatures and stuff like that? And the answer was, well, it is Warhammer 40K. The other one says, what the F? So it was kind of cute. And Kathleen says, that's no fun, Torin. And looks very nice to meet Torin. Thank you very much, Kathleen. And Raymond YOC, sorry to hear that, Torin, being the new guy in a dysfunctional group really sucks. Yeah, it didn't help that the social group I was in that time tended to be focused around a guy whose name was Bear and kind of worked as a leather worker / security guard. It was very nice to me, but he did have a group of people hanging around him that were kind of like the dysfunctional fabulous group. And it took me a while to outgrow that. That's actually kind of how I went from being kind of as a teenager and younger, loose with the truth, to where I try and be as absolutely scrupulous as I can with what I talk about, making sure that, I'm not willing to, claim things that I'm not really sure are true. Even if I have a pretty good belief, I try and be as precise and honest as I can in my discussions, whatnot, because I looked around and realized I didn't respect any of those people. And I wanted to be the type of person that I could respect. So that's kind of how I changed my life around in my late teens, early 20s. And Kathleen says, how about caffeine free? I need a small amount of caffeine to keep really bad migraines at bay that kick in about 3 or 4 months after I stop taking caffeine. But I do believe they do have, I believe at least the Pepsi flavor has a caffeine-free version. And they also have a, I don't think it may be sliced, but their lemon lime flavor, they have caffeine-free as well. Kevin says, I'll have to look at that. We drink way too much soda. Oh, yes, this has extremely cut down the cost of soda consumption when I'm using it regularly, because the refill bottles last easily 50 or 60 carbonation fills on the bottles I use, and they're a little over 1 liter in size, about 1 liter in size, and it's like $20 a refill for each of those bottles. They're large enough that they can get a high enough pressure in there, so I think it actually gets to liquid CO2 in the bottle. So they get a fair amount packed into that small amount, that small size. But they're much larger than the little CO2 containers they have for I forget what it was, but yeah. If you're small enough that you can't have a thick enough wall, you really can't get enough pressure to get a liquid, so you don't have as much volume of CO2. And Kathleen says, yes, it was wonderful. And the Eisenhorn series. Okay. Like I said, I just finished it up, and I enjoyed it quite a bit. And Kathleen says, I'm sorry to hear that. I had hopes for Cavill making it work. Hopefully, somewhere down the road, they'll be able to do that, because with how well he did with The Witcher when apparently the producers did not like the source material at all, and he was the reason for like the first season or two that it was as good as it was. I think he'd be pretty. If he did 40K, it would be pretty great. And while I originally was not all that fond of his version of Superman, he's definitely a great actor in my judgment at this point in time. That's a 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11. Okay, so black next, and I really should be doing that. And I'm having fun chatting with you folks, but it's not getting this setup done. So let me jump into this and try and keep my conversation going while I'm moving. But I was also reading through the chat, so can't really do the setup and read the chat at the same time. And I just realized I forgot to grab the tone before I did this. But I think I can get 2 out. Yep, there we go. And I'm going to have to cut any thread off of this one, so that should work. So I remember to bring the other one with me when I walk my way back. After this one, the next orange one will pass the halfway mark. Or we'll be at the halfway mark. And then I'll have another 6 to go. And I'll be 2/3 set up. So I've been at it for about an hour and 15 minutes. That's not too bad. Number 3. Yep. This one still has large set knot on it. Let's go ahead. Okay. Let's untangle this. Should have done that before I started this, but well. Okay. Currently, let's see if I can. I know this is off camera, but it's a little tangly here. Let's see if I can keep this from forming a knot. As I've said multiple times, it's not actually a knot unless it's tight in a knot. You can keep it from tightening up. You can usually tease things back apart. So here and go down to the swoop. And let's see. Go through this way. And is that actually doing something? I think that might be worse, but I can. This way. At least I know I've undone something here. Whoops, I'll just try to form a square knot. Let's just plan this out a little bit more. Let's do this way. And I think we're almost back to untangled. Not quite there yet. Sit through here. Yes, you're getting the verbal edition of how to untangle a knot. We're almost there. One more will be there. All right, no tangles, no knots. Let's wrap this up properly. I can walk it back and mark the halfway point. I'll have to remember to make sure the large heads are undone before I start. Can't forget grabbing the other one. There we go. Sorry, my eyes are a little burny, so I got one closed. I'll try and fix that in just a second. All right, halfway to the point marked. Set that there. Get a little bit of wrap around. Make sure the tension is nice and even. There we go. Once I cut it, I'll just go ahead and back it off a bit more. Make sure the tangled bits get untangled. All right. A little bit of unevenness, but not a whole lot. Just cut off the excess. There we go. And there we go. All right. Does this one need? No, this one does not need a lark segment removed. Yep. Yeah, probably should have missed more of the film kind of dry and blow away. That's not one. And not two. I do have to say it's nice having double-digit people watching, though some of them are watching on Twitter. I haven't double-checked Rumble yet. I'm sure there's at least a couple people watching there. Should also start getting some better numbers once I actually start doing the braiding. All right. Set that there. This one. Roll it up here. Let's see, the end of the story with his sudden disappearing was fun. Yep. So you got to wonder if he wound up finally succumbing to chaos, or if he was continuing to work in the shadows because he could no longer work directly as part of the Inquisition, given there's a couple of people in the Inquisition that think he should be, kind of burned at the stake type thing. But yeah, it was a well done story. I enjoyed it quite a bit. And I noticed that the same author has a bunch of other stuff that he's done for Warhammer 40K, and I've been considering getting some of those. All right, so under 1, over 2, under 3, over 4, under 5, over 6, under 7, over 8, under 9, over 10, over 11, and over 12. And that gets us to 48 out of the 100. A little bit of unevenness there, but not too bad. All right, so I only need 3 here. So 1, 2, 3. And I'm going to get rid of these extra flags. Assuming they don't stick to my fingers too much. But yeah, the 1/1 basket weave has enough tension on it now that they don't slide around near as much. You have to really work at it. All right. Kathleen says, "Hey, it's all fun." And Glenn, I just got a 30-minute notice for Ruffles of the Bailey stream at 8:30. Yep, I got 25 minutes at this point. I'll probably run. Well, I don't know. I may run over a little bit. I may not. How well I'm holding up. All right. So orange is next. Like I said, and just pull it up. Easy way to go. All right, so orange is next. One of the nice things about using the super magnets is they're usually nickel plated, and nickel doesn't rust. And I probably won't have people expecting it, but I won't be streaming on the day of the election because as a constable, I have to work polls that day, which means I'm working like a 15, 16-hour day. And as a poll worker, I get $225 for the county for doing that. Which is not my normal hourly rate. But I knew the job, what the job was when I wrote my name in for the election. Speaking of which, I'm only about 2 years away from the next time I need to run. Let's see. 2015 plus 12, 2027. So, yeah, 3 years. It means I've been a constable for about 9 years now. Didn't think I'd be doing it this long, but I'm still enjoying it. Whoops. Excuse my vest because I need to clean and haven't done so yet. Well, I have done some cleaning, but nowhere near as much as I would like to. That's another thing I missed was being able to clean easier when I was taking the ADD meds. Not the I gotta scrub the entire house at 3 a.m. in the morning, just like, hey, that's something a little dirty there. Let me go ahead and pick that up while I'm passing by. It's easier to do than it used to be. Now it's hard again. It's interesting finding out the mental weight of some tasks when you've had some relief for a while. That's part of the reason why it's so frustrating. Said, oh, hey, we're a little concerned about your headaches from the bright light, so we're just going to take this away from you. And wait, since you've been having some other health issues, even though you weren't having issues with this particular medication related to that health stuff, we're just going to take that away for a while. That was very frustrating. That is very frustrating. All right, tension's good. As of this one, we have reached the official halfway point. Let's see. It's a little more unroll. And behind and under 1, over 2, under 3, over 4, under 5, over 6, under 7, over 8, under 9, over 10, under 11, over 12, and under 13. Slide this up and take off the oldest flag. Actually, take off the 2 oldest. I must have missed one. There we go. And Let's take off this one. There we go. See if we get that off. Looks like I did. Okay. All right. And let's see. Gwen says, please hit that like button, double check your subscriptions, and ring the bell for all that notification. And Kathleen says, how many hours will you be working? It opens up at 8 a.m. I have to be there at 7. It closes at 8 at night, and we usually get wrapped up around 9 or 9:30, so about 14 to 15 hours. And Chris says, I am full working again. It should be busy. Yep, I'm expecting a good turnout. Fortunately, my particular ward seems to be a very laid-back one. Hasn't, even when we have a massive turnout, it's fairly quiet. Chris Collins says, I will work at least 14 hours or so with lunch and breaks. And Kathleen says, kids and I are fighting over the election. It's rough when it's 1 against 2. They got me on weight, but I think I've got them beaten on emotion. Okay. All right. And black is next. Make sure not to forget to set up Tada. Okay, this one doesn't have a work set either. All right. Wrap around the finger, and let's see. I think that's all. It doesn't look like I've lost any yet. Gwen says my local area has only about a 33% turnout for voters. It's not bad. On big elections, general contested ones, presidential and senator, as well as Congress people, we tend to have like about a 7% turnout. And on low level ones, we have like anywhere between 20 and 40. Of course, we only have about 11 to 1,200 registered voters in the ward. So as long as they come in at a steady rate, it goes very quickly for the people. Don't have to spend a whole lot of time in line. We have plenty of places for people to fill stuff out. And it only takes a couple of seconds for the completed ballots to run through the scanners. Alrighty. A little bit of twist around, not too much. There we go. All right, so let's see. 66 would be 33. 32 would be 16. So somewhere around 16 or 17 is where I hit the 2/3 mark. And let's make sure tension is even. Have some of the threads slip relative to each other. And there we go. Make sure it's nice and even. Back and do this again. Right. And 1. There we go. And 2. 1 more, and I can start rolling up. And that's also one of the. It's in the knot. It's good enough. And almost threw it on the floor again. Looks like we're snagged on. There we go. There we go. We're good on tension. It just kept wanting to snag on different things. So I'll need 4 more top and bottom to be at 2/3. I think I can do that. I will probably run into Ian's stream a little bit, but one of the things you find out if you're doing YouTube at all is you tend to run up against other people's time. They're streaming. You just kind of got to go with the flow and stream when you're going to stream. Because if you wait for everybody, you'll never stream. All right, so behind and under 1, over 2, under 3, over 4, under 5, over 6, under 7, over 8, under 9, over 10, under 11, over 12, and under 13. And let's pull that up even with the rest of them. Take off the oldest flag. All right, that's all of the up close ones. Got better spacing now. And we're ready for bridge. Go. In place. And this one has Owen's head. Let's go ahead and do that. There we go. This one got pulled a little extra long when I knocked over the thing, the green screen. All right, there we go. Ready for knot 1, knot 2, knot 3. There we go. And go. Halfway mark. Flag is on. There we go. Pass that on through. Yep. About the right length. I can make the knot, but not overly long. And 1, 2, and 3. Go ahead and roll this one up. Make sure the tension's good. And the tension looks good. Mark's head knot in place. Grab it again. And we are good length here. And drop the other side down and behind and under 1, over 2, under 3, over 4, under 5, over 6, under 7. Oops, did I mess something up? No, just a loose thread. Oops. Maybe. Yep, I did. I went through one extra thread that I shouldn't have. There we go. There we go. Gotta be careful not to pass through one of these. Lost my count, but I'm not too worried because this should be over 14. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 13. Yep. It's an even number and it went over it. And the basket weave looks consistent. And yep. Catch up on chat real quick before I jump on the next one here. All right. See, Kathleen says they were raised to see voting as a sacred right, so we'll be going to polling place together. And Kathleen says, I always check to see if my husband has voted. So far, he hasn't. Gwen says, Ron Bailey's stream chat is awesome. Awesome. They always welcome raiders. They always say hi to you, Torin. Yep. Ian's got a wonderful chat. And I do have to say there's a lot of crossover chat between mine and his. So Kathleen says, like my friend constantly complaining about no bead or jewelry society locally. I finally told her she knows every beader locally. She should start one herself, and I'll do all I can to help her. Yep, that sounds like a good plan. And Kathleen says it's been more than 10 years since the first meeting now. That sounds like it worked out well. And Gwen says, Kathleen, that's awesome. All right. Yeah. Next one is black. And let's go ahead and push that over since I'm starting to fill up the space there. If I remember right, it will fit. 100 will fit on this size dealing, but it will be kind of snug. Right. This one here. Yeah, I did just do orange. And go. Do the wrap around the finger thing. Yeah. Ease on down, ease on down. Not one. Not two. Not three. There we go. My way back. I'm going to have to cut some more flags relatively soon. Flag is on at the halfway point. There we go. Oops. Lost a couple threads there. Let's go ahead and walk this one back again and redo that. Make sure that all the threads are pulled out to the full length. Kind of like combing it out. Go ahead and give it a little mist so the static doesn't keep them apart. All right, looks like we are good. There we go. Let's try this again. Try to get a good grip once it passes through. There we go. You know, I missed it. The ends didn't quite get a lot of moisture. Didn't really get much moisture on it, so they're a little flyaway. But we have got one. And got two. And got three. There we go. Yeah. Let's go ahead and. Oh, great. Looks like one fell off the other end. Now let me go ahead and roll this up, put a lark's head on it, and I can work my way back on the other end. See if I have to redo this one from scratch. We'll have to see. Use that thread there. Let's see. How long is it? Okay, it is long enough. I should be able to tie this off on its own. Save that. Makes it a lot easier than trying to. Actually, I think what I'll do is I will tie one knot to make sure that it's both snug, and then do a little bit of super glue. Should be more likely to keep my tension even than tying it off 3 times. A little extra long relative to the rest of it. This not tied. Come on. Go. Let's go ahead and give this a little bit of a twist. Apply some super glue. That's definitely enough. It should hold together. Just make sure it's dry and not gonna glue itself to the tama. Actually, it doesn't feel all that stiff. Looks like it just got soaked in with the bottom. Let's add a little bit more. That's a good amount there. A few seconds to solidify. Seems to have gone tacky. So I'm going to go ahead and cut off, oops, most of the excess here, just so that I don't I was snagging up the rest of it. Let's see. Grab the scissors. Because I'm sure when further down the road, I'll wonder why that I've got an extra one hanging off like that, and figure I've got some sort of tension issue. And let's see. All right. That looks like it's long enough there. All right, so back and behind and underneath one. It's a little more even. So under one, over two, under three, over four, under five. I still have a thread hanging off there. I thought I cut it off. Number 6. Number 7. Oh, it's the other end. Number 8. Number 9. Over 10. Under 11. Over 12. 13. And over 14. So, I don't think this is the one I glued the end on, but let's see. Roll this just to make sure that looks like one broke on here. I want to redo this one. Yeah, I might as well redo it. In the butt, but I'm trying to send to perfectionist. So kind of annoyed it, but it's what it is. Yeah. And, oops. Pull this out. Hate to waste the soap, but oh well. Relative to the rest of it, it's not all that much. All right, carefully cut there. Did I ruin it, or did I cut through it? Nope, I didn't. Looks like the blue. Nope, okay. Maybe holding it stiff, but it's not. Let's see, can I? There we go. It's off there. Let's get this out of the way. All right, maybe we'll try this again. Make sure to give it a nice misting, which is not Mystery Science Theater 3K. Oh, speaking of Mystery Science Theater, somebody actually did a misting of the Eye of Argon. The Eye of Argon is a fantasy story that is rumored to have won the worst fantasy story at a Bay Area convention for like 3 years running. It was only entered once. The Eye of Argon is absolutely horrible. It's even funnier when it's read in Mystery Science Theater 3000 format. Main character in The Eye of Argon is Grignr, Grignr. Crow keeps poking fun at the name, and it's like, we got the idea. The other robots say, we got the idea. And Crow goes, but can I at least buy a vowel? Wonder if I could maybe get Mrs. Torin and my roommate to, off camera but on audio, join me for a competitive reading. There are competitive readings of The Eye of Argon where you read until you reach the end of the page or break up laughing. A lot of times, most people can't get through a single sentence. All right, and scissors. I don't think anybody claims a copyright on that, though there might be a copyright on the Mystic version, which was like a fan thing, not an actual official MST3K production. So, reading court documents and things like that is a thing. So, of course, I think court documents are not necessarily copyrighted. They're public documents. But I think I've heard Megan Fox say that taking a written work and reading it is transformative in some forms. Also, I'm pretty sure that the only source I have for it is a Usenet post from like 20 years ago. So I think I've got it saved somewhere. I think there's like a green ruby in the story somewhere too. All right, this is much better. I feel much more happier about this. Though I'm also feeling more tired than I was expecting. So. I might wind up ending this before I get 2/3 of the way through. We'll have to see how far I can keep going. And Ian's stream has started, so maybe I'll just go ahead and wrap it up on this one. We are over halfway. And I'll drop behind and up under 1. Bring that a little more even with the rest of them. Over 2. Over 3. Over 4. Over 5. Over 6. Over 7. Over 8. Over 9. Over 10. Under 11. Over 12. 13. And over 14. So 2 times 14 is 28, and 2 times 28 is 56. So we are 6 past the halfway point, and only 10 away from 2/3 point. So, all right, that's looking pretty decent. And the basket weave looks good. All right. And All right, this is where we left off. Making great progress tonight from Gwen. Raymond Wire says, looking good. I'm heading over to Uncle's chat. Good night. You have a good night, Rainman. And Kathleen and I may pop over there tonight just for a chance to make new friends. And Gwen says, see you over there, Raymond YYC. And Raymond YYC says, Kathleen, we Runkletarians are a friendly community. Kathleen says, good to know. Gwen says, I love those Runkleisms. And Gwen says, no vowels for you. And Kathleen says, put in crochet away, getting out of time, tied on. Lord, my hands are hurting tonight. Alrighty, I think that's pretty much everything. Let me do a quick check over on Rumble. Looks like we have 2 people watching over there. And, it says we've got 8 people on YouTube and 3 on Twitter. But I think it's a little slow catching up. Looks like everybody's heading over to Runkle's, so and a smiley face for Kathleen. All right, we're going to go ahead and end the stream. Redirect is in place. So thanks, everybody, for stopping by. It's good to have you here. And as always, stay safe and happy braiding.